Please, for the love of God, fucking stop.
Want daily tech news in a way that doesn't suck? Of course you do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Front Page Tech, of course, show that gives you all latest tech news from one geek that is me to another that is you. Today's show gonna be a doozy, and listen, it is crazy, it is insane that I, of all people, have to make this video. So, last week, we did an episode about this totally real, for sure, 2020 iPhone 12 leak. According to Ben Geskin, Apple is working on a prototype 2020 iPhone that removes the notch and instead puts the Face ID sensor array in the top bezel. Like, no joke, stuffs all of this into that tiny, teensy-weensy bezel. Now, in that episode, I told you why that is bullshit and why you shouldn't believe it. I even went as far as to offer Ben Geskin $5,000. That's $5,000 if he's right about this, and indeed, the 2020 iPhone comes out with no notch and sensors shoved up into the bezel. But apparently, not everyone got the memo. How about a few updates on the situation, huh? For one, Ben Geskin has leaned way into this, milking this for absolutely all it's got. Cause them Twitter likes be just too damn irresistible, making even more renders of an iPhone that doesn't exist and taking advantage of the fact that no one will actually know he's lying until the next iPhone comes out, and even then, he can just say, well, I did say it was just a prototype. Check this out. He even came out with his own fancy YouTube video for it called Introducing iPhone 12 Pro, Apple. Jesus. Marquez, MKBHD, even retweeted some of the renders, which stirred up an interesting conversation. So with Ben's tweet of the 2020 iPhone 12 Pro renders attached, Marquez says, give it USB-C in promotion and I'm in. Ben Geskin replied saying, that's what we are all expecting. No. Then, of course, I couldn't resist. I popped in and said, no, we all are not. Ben says, what are you expecting, John? I said, a notch. Maybe smaller, maybe more condensed, but a notch nonetheless. Even if they can get the sensors that small, they will not work under 2.5D glass that, number one, Ben used in his render. You can see here in the render where the edge of the glass curves over to the side. That's where he says the sensors are going. The sensors will not work under curved glass like that. It's impossible. Then Ben said they will work under 2D glass. But literally in the exact render where Ben is claiming that the sensors are going in the bezel, Ben himself doesn't use 2D glass. It curves along the bezel. I then followed up with another tweet which I included a quote from Ming-Chi Kuo where he was mentioning the next iPhone, the 2020 iPhone, will look a lot more like the iPhone 4 design. In that exact quote, he says, we predict that the new 2020 iPhone design will change significantly. The metal frame and the front and rear 2 to 2.5D glass are still used, but the metal frame surface will be changed to a similar design to the iPhone 4, replacing the current Surface design. Ben then, I don't know, did whatever he wanted with that quote and said, new design, metal frame, and glass on front and back are still used, but, and I said, yes, meaning, just like the previous year, glass and metal are still used, but the metal surface will be changed. The sentence before that even referenced using the same glass. What is the hard part? Literally, just the metal frame is changed. This is literally not possible. It's not a thing, but that's not stopping Ben Geskin from leaning way into this to keep the attention on him, and it's certainly not stopping the neckbeards online from sharing and spreading this even more. I have no doubt that Apple will remove the notch eventually, but not by putting sensors in the bezel itself, and definitely not by 2020 for the iPhone 12. If and when Apple removes the notch, it will be by placing sensors under the display panel itself, where there's room. not in the bezel. Or maybe they ship one of the models of the iPhone without Face ID at all, which would be a mistake in my opinion. This is why we're always disappointed with Apple, because we let 22-year-old Ben Geskins with Photoshop set our expectations for us, and then when Apple doesn't deliver on the make-believe iPhone, it's not Ben Geskins' fault, it's Tim Cook's fault. That makes sense. It seems like Ben Geskin, though, also knows it's not a thing. You see, just the other day, Ming-Chi Kuo himself mentioned updates coming to the iPad and the MacBook. Geskin tweeted the article saying, "Kuo, tell us about the notch." Cute little emoji, as if he's been right the whole time and we just need Kuo to validate him. But then, buried in those replies in that thread, you'll find this. Someone said, "Yo, you really confident the 2020 iPhone will have no notch?" Ben Geskin: "No, I think it may have a smaller notch, 60%, or hole punch, 20%, or no notch, 20%. And that is when people finally started to catch on. In fact, some of you tagged me, thank you for that, I missed literally all of those, and instead woke up to this tweet from Steve from OnLeaks, saying, well, with a screenshot of Ben's tweet. He then went ahead and tagged me saying, "Hey, John Prosser, seems like chances for you having to throw $5,000 just dropped by 80%. Fucking finally. Okay, internet, now we're talking. Ben Geskin, even though he's been spreading these renders around, acting confident about his leak, accepting all the attention for it, at the end of the day, actually believes that there's a 20% chance the iPhone will have no notch. That's the same percentage chance he gave for the 2020 iPhone having a hole punch display." An iPhone with a hole punch display. By the way, that hole punch display on an iPhone thing is another render that he tweeted months ago. So the fact that he gives this no notch thing the same validity in his mind as a punch hole display on an iPhone tells us all we need to know. Even though he's publicly pushing his totally real prototype leak of a 2020 iPhone 12 with no notch and Face ID sensor array in the top bezel, he's also quietly planting seeds of other possibilities so that when we all find out the truth, he can't be criticized. In fact, with all of this going on, we've been doing a lot of research, and in all of our digging through Ben Geskin's track record, what really seems to have happened here is that a random college kid got one thing right 2 years ago about the iPhone 10, again, a couple years ago. And he's been effectively milking that since. Literally, from what I can tell, every single other thing that he's tried to leak since then wasn't real. It's really starting to look like he's a one-hit wonder and has gotten nothing else since then correct. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Geskin is a very talented concept artist. He's not a reliable leaker. As much as I want to blame Ben Geskin for being so reckless and just tweeting nonsense for Twitter likes, and even now posting YouTube videos, I can't blame him. He's just a 22-year-old or 23-year-old kid that wants the attention, wants the likes, wants the followers, wants the clout. He gets the attention and likes now, and later on, down the road, when none of this stuff actually happens, it won't matter because he still has the followers, and everyone, hopefully by then, will have forgotten. The real people that we should be blaming here? The media. These are the people who are supposed to be credible. Journalism, am I right? The Ben Geskins of the world just out there having fun wouldn't be such a problem if media outlets didn't just run with whatever people like him say. YouTubers doing videos without any research calling Ben a reliable leaker, tech blogs covering these concept renders as actual real iPhone leaks. Random people can say whatever bullshit they want all the time. It's these tech publications that are supposed to be the filter and only surface the real shit. The real news. Listen, fake but fun and playful concept renders could remain just that and have their own little space online. if tech blogs and YouTubers didn't act as giant megaphones for fake bullshit. And the more garbage they surface, the less and less the community as a whole can take them seriously. This shit makes us all look bad. When anyone can be a leaker, regardless of a track record, it unfairly takes credibility away from actual, reputable leakers that do have a track record, like OnLeaks. So for those in the media, stop being so goddamn reckless with what you spread and put eyes on. If you wonder why you're losing credibility and clicks for ad dollars, this is why. And I don't know how I'm the only guy telling the truth. Tech blogs and YouTubers alike, listen to me. Your credibility matters. Your track record matters. So many of you are looking for short-term gain, and then you wonder why your audience doesn't give a shit when you speak, when you say something, when you publish an article, or when you upload. BGR, Forbes, CNN, Tom's Guide, Pocketlint, Android Authority, iDrop News. Those are the names. Those are just some of the names that after today, you should trust a little bit less. And please, people, stop believing everything you see on the internet.